Luke. Hope you're well. Thanks for your time today. I imagine it's obviously been different with the pandemic in terms of having a first-round pick in your room, not being around Jordan much. How much before the draft were you able to scout him, study him a little bit, to have a little bit of a basis of what he can do as he got into your room? And was there anyone in his past that you're able to speak with before or after the draft to kind of get to know him a little bit better?
Just like everybody else that was in the draft or potential undrafted free agents, we evaluated everybody. We spent a good amount of time on Jordan. We had an opportunity to interview him at the combine, and then again, during this virtual part of it. So we got to spend a good amount of time with him. Really enjoyed his personality. Thought that he was the right kind of guy for our football team, and I think the talent part of it was, something that we were extremely excited about it too. But I thought the person was, over those 3 meetings that we had with him, was something that just stood out. I was really excited when those guys decided to take him.
Olivia Reiner, why don't you go ahead?
Hi, Luke. Thanks for taking the time today. We haven't spoken with you since you were promoted with your new title. How is this role challenging you in a new way than your previous one did?
I think we do a great job of working together as a group. And that's just the way that Matt has built it. And I think this role was probably more of what it just became as we were all together. So I don't think a whole lot will be different. I think it's just kind of what the role became. And so I think part of it is, exciting for me. It's another step for me in my career, more growth and everything like that. So I'm excited for it. And, I'll take more personal responsibility for things. But as far as my role, I think that, Matt's done a great job of giving everybody their roles. And this is kind of the role that I fell into last year, being a part of that process. And I think Matt mentioned it in his meetings with you guys too. I'd already kind of taken on the third down role and stuff like that. So I don't see a whole bunch changing other than, I'm excited for that opportunity and the responsibility.
Bill Huber, go ahead.
Thanks, Luke. I appreciate it. So what exactly is a passing game coordinator? What is that role that you fell into, created, or not created is not the right word, but kind of evolved into, I think was your words?
Yeah, I think it's just, again, how Matt built this thing with the collaboration of Coach Hackett, myself, and him, putting the plans together each week and just having a part of that. I think in the end, that's really what it is. Coach Hackett oversees everything. He oversees every single aspect of this, and my responsibilities kind of fall with the pass game in coaching the quarterback position. So that's just kind of how where the details and the specifics fall into this thing.
Steve McGargy, go ahead.
Yes, I was just wondering how this whole thing, how the pandemic kind of changed your approach, just in terms of maybe carving out more time with family, with your home life. And I'm also wondering if it might have any long-term changes with the NFL. We hear so much about the NFL being a 24/7 job. Do you envision coaches in the future kind of altering their approaches to maybe carve out more time with their families?
Yeah, I guess the first part, obviously, was a huge change for how you connect with your player. I thought one of my most important things or important aspects that I wanted to get accomplished during this offseason was to create a better relationship with each guy. I know that not having the opportunity to be in a room with them or on the field with them, I just saw this as a valuable time to get close to all these guys. And so hopefully we accomplish that. As far as the scheduling is in the future, I hope so. I hope this can be good. As I'm a young aspiring coach who wants to one day lead a football team myself, and as I look at this type of schedule that we had, I just see this as an opportunity or another way to create a better lifestyle for the coach in some aspects of it. Because, like you said, and particularly during the season, this thing is it's a grind. It is, and that's the beauty of the off season is that you try to take some moments to catch your breath. The beginning of this pandemic deal was I think rough on a lot of people. Just because it was a new thing for us, and we had new technologies. I mean, I got a green screen behind me, I got a microphone, a computer. I mean, I'm in my house, so just trying to learn how to operate like that was definitely a challenge at first. But I think after, like anything, a couple of weeks of practice and doing it, I think we all got much better at it, and hopefully we will be able to implement it in some way in the future.
Wes Hodkowitz, go ahead.
Hey, Luke, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to ask you quickly about the virtual offseason. Obviously, you guys put your plans together beforehand, but how have you seen that kind of come to life? And is there anything personally, for you as a coach that you learned, as a teacher, just working with the players in this type of atmosphere as opposed to being in the classroom?
Yeah, I realized I'm a much more visual person. I like showing pictures. I like showing film and discussing it. And that aspect was kind of taken away from me. So I had to kind of challenge myself to learn different ways to quiz guys, different ways to keep them attentive in this whole thing. Because I think that was one thing that I kind of realized as a couple of weeks went on. I think it started to wear on the player a little bit, not having that connection, that physical connection in relationships. So you had to get creative, and you had to find some different ways to, like I said, to challenge and make sure that they know and that they're retaining the information that you're giving to them, because it's a whole lot of talking, and that part of it is probably different for the football players that I've been around in my past. It's usually you teach, you go apply it, and then you evaluate that application, right? And we didn't really get that part of it, so we had to find some creative ways to make sure that they were able to retain the knowledge.
Jason Wilde, go ahead.
Hey, Luke, thanks for doing this, man. We appreciate it a lot. There's been certain coaches during the starting quarterback's career that he's really connected with, Tom Clements, Alex Van Pelt, and I think he's obviously really close with you. Without telling us the contents of your conversations with him, what has the tenor been when you've talked to him, maybe right after the draft and then as you've gone forward, and what are you kind of expecting from him? Because I know he's got plenty of intrinsic motivation, but when a team drafts a quarterback in the first round, that also might put a little burr in your saddle if you're the starter.
Yeah, I think he addressed all that he felt and all that stuff already. I mean, I thought he was honest and he did a great job depicting, his feelings and all that stuff. So he did that already. But as far as our interactions, nothing has changed. I mean, this guy is extremely motivated, and his input through this offseason has maybe been the best I've ever been around him. To be honest with you, we've included him in so much, and we needed him to be included in so much. And he's been huge. He's clarified things for us. We've clarified things for him. I feel like there's no question that we're walking away or we're moving into this summer with our staff being on the same page with him, as good as I've ever been with him. So I think he's in a great place, and he's always been a great teammate the entire time I've ever been around him. Not just a good teammate, he's been a great teammate. And I know once they're actually in the same room and they're all that doing that stuff, I know Aaron's going to be the best teammate to Jordan than anybody else, and I don't have any doubt about that part of it. So he's been great. He's excited to get going in the fall, and like I said, he grinded through this offseason with us, and he did a great job. We got a lot accomplished in this unique style, and I'm looking forward to apply it all here once we get together.
Aaron Nagler, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Just wondering about the offensive efficiency you guys had at times last year was really impressive. And then at times it seems like you really stubbed your toe. And I was wondering, you talked about your evolving role here, and I know it's, very much Matt's brainchild in conjunction with Nathan and Aaron and yourself. Have you guys been able to identify, I know you're not going to be able to give detailed specifics, but have you been able to identify anything that was tripping you up along the way that you think maybe you can attack a little bit more efficiently in 2020?
I think a lot of that just came through with, us finding an identity through the season, to be honest with you. I think, once we kind of found that identity, we were able to kind of get through those hurdles like you're talking about. And then I think the other part of it was too, Devontae gets hurt early in the season and a lot of people had to step up and they did. And so I think that's why it just got better. I think we saw different sides of people, and a bunch of our guys proved that they can do it at the highest level. And then you throw Devontae back into it, and then as he got more healthy, we got more productive. So I think all of that goes into it. I think it was the fresh offense to everybody. I think it was us identifying who we had, guys stepping up into different roles. And then on top of that, now you throw Devontae back in the mix, and then I felt like things started clicking the later in the season that we went. And as far as you evaluate or you look at the whole season, yeah, for sure, there's areas we got to improve. But I think it's, as much as anything, it is the evaluation of what we did well, what we thought we were going to be. We've kind of maybe changed that mindset. Because we went in the last season maybe thinking we were going to be something, and then we grew into something else, and now we get to enhance that. And so I'm really excited to see us do that, because I think we have a really talented team, and I think we have an extremely intelligent football team that can handle all the things that we want to do.
Bill Huber, go ahead.
Hey, Luke, I realize you haven't seen him do anything at all in person, but you have another rookie quarterback, and I've talked to Jalen. He seems like a really impressive guy. I'm just wondering your early impressions of him.
Yeah, he's been great. Work ethic, tremendous. Attentive in the meetings, asking great questions. He would have really benefited from being with us, as anybody would, I guess. But but he's been awesome. I'm extremely excited to see what he can do. Obviously, only being able to watch his film from college, but I mean, there's a lot of raw talent there, and so I think it'll be really fun to get my hands on him once we get together here in I guess end of July, early August, whenever that might be.
Wes Hodquist, go ahead.
Hey, Luke, in that same vein with Tim coming back, one, where did you see him make the biggest strides last year? And two, being in that number 2 role on game days with Aaron, in what ways do you feel like that, can help a quarterback's growth as well, actually sitting in that seat?
Yeah, Tim, I mean, he became a veteran. He became a pro last year. I thought when the competition for the backup role ended, he opened up tremendously and grew so much. He really did. And so I think, as you have an opportunity to sit and watch and listen and learn and hear from Matt and hear from the Coach Hackett and from myself and watching Aaron and listen to Aaron communicate things, he's got to do that for 2 years now. I think Tim's mental part of his game is at a whole nother level now. And, we're so lucky to have him, especially in a time like this when we're not able to be together as much as we usually are.
Jason Wilde, go ahead again.
Hey, Luke, you've talked a lot about not being together. In what ways have you not been able to do the things that you would have liked to have done on the field, whether you're with Aaron Rodgers or the 2 rookies or with Tim? And does that influence, as you kind of try and plan when you do finally get to be with these guys, how much fundamental work you do, footwork, et cetera? How does that impact your plan for training camp in terms of getting them ready?
Yeah, I think when you probably separate the two, right? Because you have Aaron who's been through it enough and has been through our offense now. So if this was a year ago, it'd be much more difficult, I think. But because it's not, I think Aaron and Tim are in a great place, and they'll be in a great place. But the 2 young guys, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a demanding training camp for them, because they don't even know exactly what the drill is that we're gonna do yet, and they don't know. They've only seen a video of it. They don't know what it feels like for any of that stuff. They haven't had to say a cadence or say a play in the huddle with the team. And so I think all of those firsts are what you really enjoy by rookie mini camps and OTAs and then the veteran mini camp, getting around the vets and seeing and hearing how Devontae talks about a route or runs a route and what it's supposed to look like, and watching Aaron throw it and watching his rhythm and his feet. I just think there's a lot of value in all that and seeing that that those guys are going to miss. And so that'll be the demand of training camp, is to get as much of that in as we can, and watch as much of it and talk about it as much as we can. And we got a lot of work to do, especially with the young guys, but I'm excited for it. I think, the NFL will do a great job, I'm sure, as long as, same with Matt, and putting a plan together that'll give us enough time to have those guys all ready to go.
Aaron Nagler, go ahead.
Coach, you're talking about, it brings up an interesting point as far as getting these young guys on the field, especially quarterbacks who have a ton of responsibility. Obviously, yesterday's reporting coming out that the NFL is considering, limiting not only training camp, but the postseason or the preseason could be cut down to 2 games. What kind of challenge does that present to you for not only having to get, obviously, Aaron ready and then Tim in whatever spot he needs to be, but your first overall pick in Jordan Love and then another young guy, trying to juggle the playing time in 2 preseason games? What kind of challenge is that going to be?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a challenge, but nothing that is insurmountable. I mean, I think you realize that you gain more through a practice than you probably do through a preseason game. I think, not having an opportunity to practice against some of those other teams that we were planning on doing, that probably hurts a little bit more than losing a preseason game, to be honest with you. It just puts more stress on the practice, and that's normal. Because that's where their growth is going to come. It's going to come from that. I don't think anybody's going to evaluate the where they stand based upon a preseason quarter or 2 or whatever the reps might be. Those are good experiences to get, again, because it gets rid of those firsts, right? I want to get rid of as many of those firsts as we possibly can, but the demand is going to be in practice. It's going to be getting them ready to go in practice where it's full speed. It's live, not almost live periods and all that good stuff. That's where the improvements are going to come.